This is Brent from Do Did Will, the Story of People podcast. I started, I'll give you the kind of the Coles Notes version. Started in a band in Southern Ontario. We played tons of shows, toured with tons of bands, had a blast. Started to get the itch. Our band was doing pretty decent level stuff, but then I had an opportunity to start putting on some concerts from some of the agents that I was dealing with. And I'm in Vancouver now, but I was in Ontario at the time. So like Port Perry, Lindsay, Peterborough, Oshawa, those kind of markets that were outside of the GTA. And as it was going through, I kind of started putting on shows and then asking the agents if our bands could, and my friends' bands and us, and we could open up for the shows, and they let us. And so we started doing that. And then it led to me meeting a bunch of tour managers who were like, "Hey, have you ever thought about going out and tour managing?" And I was like, "Yeah, what is that? What is that?" And he goes, "Well, you basically manage the band when you're on tour. You're there day to day. You get them to the gig and back. You make sure, you're kind of like the direct liaison between management and the artist. And so, is the band having a good day? How was the show last night? Anything to report? Do you do all the accounting? You do half the 3/4 of the driving. Like, it's just basically managing somebody's life on tour, but it's like 4 or 5 people in a band." And I said, for sure, I want to try it. And so I went out and did it. And that took me across Canada quite a lot with a ton of different bands. And in that process, I met these guys along the way and girls that were called promoter reps, which, as I'm representing management on tour with bands, they were representing the promoter and running the show on behalf of the promoter, because the promoter might be doing 10 other shows or something, or they were, the buyer of the show, but they're just too busy with the minutia between agents and all these and management, and they need somebody to actually physically run the show. And I was like, what is that gig? So I met some of those people in my first ever touring as tour manager back in like 98, 99. And when I moved to Vancouver, a couple of those people that were there at the beginning were working for a giant concert company and had said to me, "What are you doing? We need promoter reps. We need people to do this." And I said, "Sure, teach me how you guys do it on that level." And they did. And I covered Vancouver for a long time and did a lot of shows, clubs, theaters. That took me to an opportunity to start touring Western Canada and running, 10 shows for the company, like big shows, Our Lady Peace and Theory of a Dead Man, and just really great bands that were filled with great people. And then that led to getting a call to come overseas to do the same thing, but just in Europe, because that market was developing out and needed people to run tours, 10 to 20 or 30 shows at a time. And they started picking people that had experience to do that. And so that took me over to Europe since 2012. It took a bunch of journeys since then. Like I headed up production for a company that was competition to one of the main companies, and kind of helped train some of their production people and develop out a production team that would run concerts for them. I worked in an arena just outside of Vancouver in Abbotsford for a year as their director of production and events, which was really cool and gave me a really cool experience. And then since 2018, I've been exclusively in Europe and around the world doing some great stuff with some artists, Shakira, Imagine Dragons, who else? I mean, tons of bands that I've been doing a bunch of shows. So Rod Stewart, Korn, Alice in Chains, some really fun stuff. So